So, the essence of outreach is driven by one desire, and that's to spread the values and learnings of STEM and innovation to as many people in our community as we can. Over 30 years of FIRST has grown from 22 teams to over 4,000 teams. And outreach, it basically opens a world of possibilities for students, and it helps them develop skills needed for careers in the 21st century. And outreach is what differentiates this competition from any other competition or any other robotics competition. And this outreach is basically what helps your team win the Chairman's Award and the Rookie All-Star Award. And we'll be elaborating on each of these awards a little bit later on in the presentation. But basically, these awards are given to teams which are able to spread the message of FIRST and able to embody gracious professionalism, which is like the motto of FIRST, to its fullest. And doing outreach enables your team to just create memories and forge new connections and make new friends.
Right. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the outreach philosophy that Team Elevate has adopted, and basically how we can help you all set up not a similar, but an outreach philosophy that embodies what each person of your team stands for, what each person, would like to work for. Because, there's a lot of place for us to do outreach, and we should consider it our natural duty to do outreach because, we have the resources to help others, and that's why it is, it's important for us to actually help other people. So what you can see on the screen right now is something called STEM for All. And STEM for All is our overall outreach program adopted by Team Elevate 2 years ago when it was, when it was created. Because we believe that because we actually do have the skills and the power and basically all the resources ready, we must help everyone, every child, who may not have access to these resources, feel included and get a chance that we are getting. So the cornerstone of the FIRST philosophy is based on something known as gracious professionalism, which is actually a term that they have coined themselves. And gracious professionalism basically means it's a kind of a mix between collaboration, cooperation, and to be completely honest, all of the ideals that a person should embody, and that is basically helping others while competing and making sure that you are not putting anyone down in any way, and everyone and helping others so come to the basically bringing people with you. So for this, in STEM for All and under the first ideals of gracious professionalism, I would like to take you first onto the first pillar over here, which is impact. Now, impact can be in a lot of different ways. Like, for example, when we talk about impact, we can talk about our impact on other teams that are already formed. To this end, we have in our various outreaches interacted with teams from all over the world. And we have made sure that we can tell them as much as we can about our outreach philosophy, what we are doing, and the challenges that we are trying to overcome. And so this way we can create an impact on them. They can help us, and this entire gracious professionalism cycle can keep going on. For example, an event that we just recently took part in was called the 24 Hours of STEM, organized by Team 3132 of the first team in Australia to take part in FRC. And over there, a couple of members of our team, we actually went and we made a presentation to a lot of people. This was an open event, and over here we tried our best to make an impact on people, make them understand some of the issues that we are trying to tackle in our outreach philosophy, STEM for All. Along with a lot of the other international outreaches that we have conducted to get more people happy and actually part of our programs, the various programs that FIRST offers, and not just FIRST programs, but robotics and STEM education in general. To that end, we've created a lot of these challenges that students can do, students can take part in as part of our impact program. All right. So the second pillar actually is called inclusion, and inclusion, I think, is the cornerstone of STEM for All, our outreach philosophy, because this is making sure that every child is included. Like I said, we may have the resources, that we need for our personal growth, but it is our duty to help others as we go along, our journeys. So, as part of the inclusion program, we started something called She Empowers STEM, which is our outreach program focused on getting more girls involved. And to this end, we have not just preaching this outreach inclusion She Empowers STEM to other people, but actually introspecting into our team and expanding from how one girl in 2015 taking part in FRC to almost 20 to 25 girls a part of the three FRC teams that are created in Bombay. I'm sorry, in India. And I mean, a huge part of that 25 is from our team itself, where almost one third of our team is girls. This number seems a little low right now, but that's why you have to focus on things like inclusion so that you can get that number higher and eventually reach a ratio that is something that you should work towards is getting an equal ratio of boys and girls. So that's something that we look at when we talk about inclusion. And lastly is sustainability. And sustainability is kind of looking at looking at expanding first ideals and first teams in India, because it's essential that people have some kind of STEM education, because that is a wholesome development of a person. So under our sustainability campaign, we have tried our best to reach out to a lot of students, students from our own school, by creating many of these programs for teaching you all the basics of CAD, Java, and a lot of other programs that will be essential and very helpful when you're doing the FRC or the FTC. So that's why, apart from our school as well, we have a lot of people from other schools, from teams that we have just created over the last 2 to 3 months, all over India actually. And I'm very excited that we can share this entire philosophy with you all, because this is something that we strive to achieve, and we want you all to understand this as well. Arya, next slide. Yeah. So I've kind of given you an overview of what elevates outreach philosophy and the ideas that we like to embody within ourselves. I would like to give you some examples of the kind of outreach that we have conducted that kind of falls under the three pillars. And this is, mind you, this is from 2018 onwards, from when we actually created our team, as we are in our third year as a team. So we actually, the first ever event that we ever hosted, I think 3 or 4 days after our team was created, was something known as the LROC event, which was a conference for principals and vice principals from some of the best schools in Bombay and Pune. And we got to interact with over 65 of them and spread the message of first programs and basically the importance of having STEM education. So in this way, we are trying to create an impact on these teachers and principals, vice principals, and trying to get them more excited about FIRST in FRC, so that we can expand under our sustainability initiative as well to kind of get a better first community in India. So it may seem like every pillar is different, but just like this story, every pillar is intertwined and works hand in hand with each other in making your outreach philosophy possible. So that was the LROC event, the first event that we ever conducted 4 days after our team was created. The second event that I would like to talk to you about is the Build First India series, which actually I hope most of you all were a part of. And I think I recognize a lot of your names that are in this meeting right now. Almost all of you all are being part of the Build First India series, which was basically under our outreach program, literally what it sounds like, building first India, right? Building a first community in India that is able to sustain itself long after the original creators have have graduated from it. So this Build First India series, which comprised of 8 speakers over 8 days from all around the world, talking about their experiences with building first communities in their own countries, or getting government officials like that, like we had in the end, government officials talking about how they can help us and how we need to help them, expand STEM for all education across the country. We had the speakers talking about their experience with setting up first Australia, first Turkey, and a lot of other speakers from the US and Canada talking about how we too can build our own community in India. So these are some of the events that we had conducted that fall, directly into our outreach philosophy. And I'll let someone else talk to you a little bit more about the other events that we have created.
Yeah, so we also conducted events at Sankalp Shikshan Sanstha and at Dharavi. Basically, the philosophy of outreach is to provide your community with opportunities that you're privileged to have. Right now, all of us over here, we're privileged to have opportunities where we can learn, where we can learn about robotics, where we can explore our passion. But not everybody has that opportunity, and outreach recognizes that fact, and you have to act on that. So you have to go out and help your community get those opportunities. So that's exactly what we did in our outreach with Sankalp Shikshan Sanstha. Sankalp Shikshan Sanstha is basically it's an organization which caters to the hearing impaired children, and we went there every weekend. And we taught them robotics and we helped them participate in the FLL competition. And they actually went on to win the Core Values Award over there, and they're a bunch of hearing impaired children. So at first, of course, it was hard for us to communicate with them effectively, but soon we got used to it and we realized that what bonds us is our passion for robotics and our passion for STEM, and that was what was really driving them to learn and driving us to teach, and that's how we were able to bridge the communication gap between us, and we were able to see how involved they were. In fact, at the end of our session, one of the children came up to us with a circuit board that he had found in a landfill and said, "Kya ye robot mein ja sakta hai? Can we put this on the robot?" And so robotics means the world to them, but they lack the platform to express their talents. And we are lucky to have that platform, and therefore we need to provide such an opportunity to them, and that's the basic philosophy of outreach. And at Dharavi, which is where we were basically teaching robotics to the underprivileged children, after a couple of sessions, they had mastered robotics to such an extent that we didn't have to give them we didn't have to give them a problem to solve anymore. They themselves were coming up with challenges, and like for example, they just used materials that they had in their surroundings. They used the buckets they had and they created like an obstacle course for themselves, and then they themselves created a robot that would go around the obstacle course and complete the challenge that they had created.
Yeah, so as you can see on the left hand side, you have the girls' outreach. The girls' outreach is something very important to our team. We started off with 5 girls in our first year, and the second year, almost 1/3 of our team was girls. So, raising STEM awareness to bring more girls is a very, very important factor. Our girl centric initiative to bring more girls into STEM started small with just awareness talks, like you can see in the first picture, where we just had like a talk with the girls and we just showed them our robot. And then we moved on to having classes for grades 5 to 8, the girls in grades 5 to 8, every Friday, where we explain the different roles in a team, some construction or programming of smaller robots, just to raise awareness of STEM and clear the misconceptions of just like STEM is all about maybe robotics, but it's not. It's so much more, and we've established that, and we've helped clear those misconceptions. And so then we moved on to having other events like She Empowers STEM, which Raghav has like briefly elaborated on. And this impact has been great since it has led to the formation of an all girls FTC school team. So we actually see like how it's made a change and how we have like a new team forming because they've been inspired by our outreach. So another thing I wanted to add was that you don't need to start really big and have like the biggest outreach first. You can start smaller, small steps, and you lead on to a bigger outreach. But initially, starting small and impacting a smaller community makes much more sense than starting big and not having the impact, because you really want to have the impact and you want to make sure that your outreach is impactful and insightful at the same time. So now Manan will speak about robotics deconstructed.
So, Robotics Deconstructed was our way of ensuring that rookie teams were equipped with the technical skills they needed. Right? We'd initially approach schools to see if they wanted to create teams through first orientations. We did 11 of these, and 8 to 9 of them got back to us and said we would be interested in the skill building course. And through this, we were able to teach students the skills of Java programming and computer aided design. And this was an outreach because we're providing them with resources, right? Intellectually, these skills are extremely valuable. They don't just help when it comes to, first competitions, but they help in general, because programming at least is an extremely important skill in, the modern day world. And Robotics Deconstructed was our way of, helping others out, helping our community out when it came to such skills. And it wasn't just restricted to school going students. We also instructed mentors for NGOs, right? And this led to, a chain effect, because the mentors we taught would then take this knowledge further and teach it to, the subjects within their NGOs. So in this manner, the number of people we've impacted, the sheer scale of impact is extremely large, right? And Robotics Deconstructed was one of our extremely successful outreaches in that sense.
Yeah, so as you can see on the top right, you also have the Infinite Inspiration series. Now, this was a series where we had different change makers from different fields come in. So we had people from media firms, we had professors, we had change makers who were working with NGOs. All of these people come in and make presentations and tell us a little bit about their field, what they do, and how we could make some certain changes and how we could improve on our team. And at the same time, we also made presentations to them about our team's work, what we've been doing over the past 2 years to help out other, maybe say the girls or the robot, like other programs that we have been running. And so again, outreach was very impactful because we were able to spread awareness and at the same time also learn a lot that could improve our team. So outreaches like this, where you're also learning something and you're also giving back, really make a lot of difference, because you're getting the benefit of both at the same time. And now Arna will talk about the Niti Aayog outreach.
Yeah, the Niti Aayog outreach was perhaps one of like the biggest outreaches our team has done. We went to Delhi to meet the CEO of the Atal Innovation Mission, Mr. Amitabh Kant. And basically, the Atal Innovation Mission is a flagship innovation initiative of the Prime Minister and the Government of India. And its goal is to establish and promote a vibrant culture of innovation and entrepreneurship nationwide. And we also met Mr. Ramanan, who's the mission director of this. And the Atal Innovation Mission, it basically aims to spread STEM across India, and that is very well aligned with our aim as a team. And therefore, we were really able to convince them that first is a competition that needs to be spread throughout India, and not only in like this, not only to the people who are privileged enough to get that opportunity, but also to the underserved societies. And as a part of this mission, the government has Atal Tinkering Labs, and there are over 2,000 labs across India. And what we plan on doing now, looking forward, is to involve the children who go to those labs to in the first community. So we're going to start mentoring them, and we'll hold smaller versions of competition of first competitions for them. And our final aim through this is to get a first regional in India, and that's like our final aim. So we're starting small. We're starting with a few children. We started with just a few children from our school, and now we're spreading our reach across the country, nationwide, so we can get as many people involved into the first community, because we believe that's one of the best ways to spread STEM across India. And STEM is the future. So the more people involved, the better it is, and the more innovations it would yield more innovations from our country. And yeah.
Do you have any questions for us as of now? Because we really want to hear from you all as well before we like kind of move on. Anything about the outreach that we have done? If you can raise your hand, like if you have that feature, you can go ahead and do that. If anyone has any questions. No, I guess we can move on.
Right. So does anyone have any ideas for what they want to be doing as part of outreach? You can unmute yourself and just start speaking. Anything you'd like to address? Again, outreach is about community upliftment. So Is there any aspect of your community that you think you could, change through some outreach event?
All of you all are part of either an FRC or an FTC team from all over India. So I'm pretty sure you might have
Any students from, okay,
your
let's
team
go.
can take forward.
So are there any students from ABWA who have anything to add on? Because brainstorming now is still contributing to your outreach efforts later on too, because these ideas you can then take back to your team. So we'd honestly encourage all of you to think about what you'd like to do right now and maybe pose these ideas over here on this call, because we'd like to make this as interactive as possible. Any students from Shriram who have anything to say?
At ABWA, I believe we are looking at doing some things for the girls community, because there, the challenges, and I would like to hear from students there. The challenge is that we have a team, but there is no representation of girls. So, is there something that somebody would like to share in terms of how we can improve that aspect? I would really like to hear from students of ABWA.
So at ABWA, so this is like our first week. So we've just started outreach, and we started with going to our younger grades, so sixth and seventh grade, trying to get them interested. Um, and we're planning to start something with a girls' school called Avsara, which we have a session with in like a day. So yeah, so that's what we've done up till now.
But Vibhav, can we do something at the school level to increase the representation of girls in the team?
So we've not decided what to do. So we decided that it's our first week, so we shouldn't do too much. So we've not come upon like what else we can do to. Of course, it's like a big part of our agenda, but we don't know how to, um, start something to involve girls, especially because everything's online.
Right. At this point, that's perfectly fine. As you said, you started at your school level trying to interest students at lower grade levels. You said sixth and seventh grade, if I'm not wrong. And on the slide, you can see this point: a cause to support. Now, a cause usually connotes something really profound, such as helping underprivileged students, because they don't have as much opportunity as us, and so we equip them with the skills to help them succeed, in a future world. But it doesn't need to be that profound. Apparent, and I say profound, but even trying to make other students interested in STEM is equally important, right? Even if they're within your school. And starting at a small scale, such as school level, allows you to work on your skills, right? Because if you have a smaller platform in the beginning, you have time to work on how you're going to mentor them, work on how you're going to get them interested in STEM, so that when you do have to face people outside your organization, a larger audience, you know exactly what to say, and you can have an even bigger impact. So I genuinely think what you're doing as of right now, Vibhav, is extremely important, and you should continue with what you're doing. And as for speaking to other schools now, that's also a great step. But always make sure to have everything scheduled really well, because you can get caught up with all these outreach events you're trying to conduct. And I like that you're taking it slow and don't want to target too many concerns at once. But ideally, you should have some sort of calendar or some sort of spreadsheet or Excel file in which you have the dates or the month on a monthly basis. You note down what outreach events you're going to be conducting, right? So that lets your team keep track of what you're doing. It also yeah. Anyone have to say something? So Vibhav gave an example of ABBA's outreaches. Anyone from Shriram has to say something? Shriram or BIS?
I just want to ask, how many girls are there in the Sri Ram team? Would somebody let me know? Actually, I don't remember the numbers. Manan, would you be able to just throw any light on that?
Miss, I'm not sure about the number of girls in the Shriram team, but
No, sorry, Mannat. Mannat, would you like to throw any light on that?
I'm not sure either.
Oh, okay. Anybody from the school? But there are girls, right?
I'm not sure about that either.
Okay. So maybe we could.
There are a few girls I know from my programming class. I
Okay.
have seen a couple of them. Yes.
Miss,
Okay,
but
good.
it's still true that women in STEM are underrepresented because they don't have as much access to STEM as the other gender does, and that is definitely an issue, right? So
The access, as much as I think we just need to make it more easy, if that's what it is, or we just need to understand what exactly is the reason why it is underrepresented. So the fact that it is underrepresented is true. I know in Hillspring, anyone saying they do not have any girl on their team. Do we have any Hillspring people here?
Yes, miss.
Who's this?
Arav.
Yeah. So, what is the? I mean, how do you propose? Like, you think we can get some more girls on the team? Is there something?
Yes, miss. I think we're getting 2 or 3 girls right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So we sent out forms, and I think 2 or 3 of them are interested. So we might get them.
Okay. So, how did this work? Did you do any outreach for it, or how did you guys go about getting them interested?
Yeah. So we just told them about the competition, and so they were kind of interested, like more in the outreach part of it. But yes, they were interested in the competition. So we sent out forms. We sent out a video of what it will be about.
Okay,
The
that's nice.
FCC, yes.
Good. So I think each one who's here should kind of, in their own head, just try and see how what they can as an individual. So outreaches are 2 levels, right? It's at an individual level also and at the team level also. But the amount that and the impact that can have as an individual is humongous. So every time you get an opportunity to kind of raise the awareness of STEM programs, especially for girls or or minorities, actually, the underserved, the differently abled, or any other community which you think is better off getting represented on STEM, you should use that opportunity to make them aware and get them involved and interested. Yeah, Manan, you can continue.
each of these examples that Ms. Meenal just stated are causes that you can support. And again, you shouldn't target all of them at once. Pick probably 1 or 2 that you want to target this month. And again, schedule it as I said, right? And more importantly, how you go about doing that is highly dependent on your philosophy, right? The first and foremost thing you should be doing as a team is deciding what you want to do as a team, what you want to accomplish is part of your outreach, right? Ours is founded upon 3 pillars: impact, how big of a difference we can make; inclusion, ensuring that we target all sections of society; and sustainability, maintaining our outreaches for years to come so that our impact remains consistent. You can have qualities that you wish your outreach to have, as we did, or the pillars of our outreach, or you could have a completely different system in terms of your vision and mission, right? That's again entirely up to your team, and you should it's highly recommended that you like come together and put some thought into this, because it's really the foundation of what your team is going to be doing for the next few years. And also, what do you do once you have a cause, right? Because we've talked about a lot of causes, and simply saying that this is a problem isn't enough, right? Let's say you want to increase the number of women in STEM in your school, right? You're trying to attract them to STEM. So simply putting posters up that say, okay, this many percent of women are there in STEM as compared to this percent of men, right? So women are underrepresented, and that's why we should have more women. That's not enough. You can't just tell them that this problem exists. You need to have some sort of solution to that, right? And that can come in the form of trying to increase their access, right? Increasing opportunity. Making it more accessible could entail having a robotics co-curricular, for instance, within your school. Speaking to your school administration and making sure that CAD or programming is another activity that students can opt for, and this is making it accessible to students regardless of their gender, right? This is it's a very small step in like relative terms, but it still makes a big difference, because starting from your school is the most important thing you can do, as I've mentioned before. And lastly, you can have mentoring opportunities, right? At this point, you wouldn't have as that many resources, right, in terms of being able to provide laptops or funding or kits of parts to NGOs, for instance. But especially because of the current situation. But that doesn't mean you can't still give them something, right? You can still provide for your community, and the way you can do that is transferring knowledge, right? As you can see in this picture over here, if you have an idea, you can pass that on. You can plant a seed in someone else's mind, and our robotics deconstructed program is a great example of that, right? Because we have students that are certified in, let's say, CAD or in programming, and using their skills, they're able to teach other students. And in that way, we're passing on knowledge, right? Collectively learning, collectively improving as a team, as a community, perhaps as society. And that's essentially what we want to do through outreaches.
So now I'm going to be talking about the sort of skills that you gain throughout this process, and after every outreach event, how do you actually like develop as a team as a whole and even individually. So first and foremost, there is a lot of opportunity to be part of this outreach, and the team as a whole drives this outreach, and it's not only a sub team, or it's not only few students who are involved in this, so the entire team gets this opportunity. So the first is researching skills for a proper outreach event. Even if we are starting small, and that's the way to go about it, we need to have a proper research on the target audience, or the content that we are sort of trying to present, or the people we are trying to reach out to. So we need to have a proper researched content as well as a proper researched audience, so that we can specifically target our outreach, and we can actually have the impact that we intend to. Then second is that we get the opportunity to interact with so many stakeholders throughout society, parents, students, leaders, corporates, even government officials. So it's a very enriching experience, and it makes you think quick on your feet. There are always last minute changes in the presentation format or the content, or someone is not being able to make it. So it's a dynamic process, and you have to take every opportunity at it as it comes, and the challenges that come with it, and every challenge needs to be crossed using techniques like problem solving and critical thinking, and these techniques are actually useful in life ahead. And so like one example I can give you is, while we were presenting once, we had to change the format 2 minutes before the presentation was about to begin. And what we essentially did was, as the presentation was going on, we were continuously editing the content and the format, so that we give the right impact and give the right message that we are trying to through our outreach. And this is the sort of skill that outreach gives you and requires you to have, and it's very useful as well. Even teamwork is a critical skill that works in outreach, because as I said, outreach cannot be done individually, it is always done by a team. Even things like collecting pictures after the end of an outreach event requires a lot of teamwork, and you need to actually look into this using research, finding platforms where this teamwork can be implemented now that we cannot physically meet each other for a few more months. So it all has a skill to it, and communication skills are one of the most important skills that outreach gives you, because when you interact with the stakeholders I mentioned, you need to actually communicate effectively your message. If you're talking to some corporates on the idea of first, you need to essentially get them involved and interested in the process, even though they're new to it. So that is something that requires communication skills, and after 2 or 3 outreach is this communication skill is built upon. And leadership skills. So this is something very important, because right from the beginning of an outreach event to the end, it's driven entirely through the students of the team, and thus it requires the leadership initiatives. We need to find right from finding the right event to put forward, to making the content, to finding the audience and spreading the messages, to concluding the event properly. It all requires leadership skills and teamwork integrated, so that we give a proper experience and convey our impact effectively. So these are the sort of skills that outreach actually gives you, and over the road you can pass it on through outreach itself. And that's one amazing thing about outreach.
Right. So next we have communicating your outreach. So it's very important that you're able to showcase and communicate your outreach and events to other teams and the first judges and the first officials. So whether it's just one meeting you've had with, like, say, a corporate, or you've had a series of events, you need to be able to showcase it and display it. So social media is the best platform to do this. A team can have an Instagram handle, a Facebook handle, and a Twitter handle where they should keep posting their outreach events. This also acts as a really good documentation process for any outreach, because you keep posting the pictures and you have write-ups there which anyways documents it for you. So any type of outreach event, when you hold it, you should have good pictures that can be posted on social media, that will show the impact you have made. They shouldn't just be pictures for the sake of posting them on social media. They should be able to tell the impact you've had on your audience. So post it with like a suitable caption which will not only summarize your event, but again say how insightful the outreach was, the impact you've had, how you've like for our social media postings, we try and make it how the impact we've had, how we've included different people, the sustainability that we've had through the season. So try and include your values into your captions and try and showcase what you have been able to do. So furthermore, be sure to tag the necessary accounts. Like, these are more details, but it's really important that you focus on these details. Like, you should be able to tag the first officials, FRC like the first robotics competitions official handle, maybe the first or any other first program that like FLL or FTC, and also any other relevant tag like person that you may be doing the outreach with. Be sure to tag them so that even they can repost your tag. And furthermore, also tag the first official in the region you're going to. So say if we were going to the Australian regional, we would tag first Australia in our post. So this will be really important, because this will help you reach them, so they will be able to see you. And to add to this, be sure to hashtag what your outreach is. So if it's a girl centric outreach, hashtag it saying first robotics, first I'm a girl, girls in STEM. All these kinds of hashtags will help you reach the audience that you desire to reach to. And this is a very crucial step, because it helps everyone see what your team is doing specifically to raise STEM awareness, what your team is doing for your community, and what your team is doing for first. And this is like really important. So yeah, we can move on to the next slide.
Are there any questions so far? As Stuti said, that's an extremely important part. Arvind, could you go to the previous slide? Yeah. As Stuti said, this is an extremely crucial aspect of your outreach. So are there any questions about, tagging people, about, designing your content, or making sure that whatever content you have is communicated efficiently? Any questions?
And I think you can, for social media, I think y'all can use your own experience. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all have your own Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. accounts. And through your experience, you would have seen which hashtags appeal to people, which hashtags do y'all follow. Maybe y'all could use those hashtags on your post, or maybe just some interesting captions, or what type of pictures do people want to see, and how can you best sell your idea. You'll have to put yourself in the person who's in the shoes of the person who's looking at those posts, and like figure out what's going on in their mind. Would something be interesting if you put it as a poster, or if you put pictures of your team? Would it be better if it's more interactive, like you could get like a poll or something else on your Instagram story that would be pretty interactive. So like I think just empathize with the people who are going to look at your posts, and like empathize with your target audience.
And you also want to, try and get family members to follow your accounts, because you want to increase the following of your Instagram account, because you want to earn recognition for what you have done for your community. Now coming to posters, again, designing your posters is an extremely important aspect, right? There's the obvious things that include, making sure that the content is legible and that, it's big enough so people can easily, get the content that you're trying to convey in a short amount of time. But apart from that, you need to tailor your content. You need to make sure that the exact information is always present, right? If you look at this poster here, this blue one, we have the dates, the times, and we have this thing where we have full stops um, in between these short phrases, right? Infinite insights, infinite opportunities, infinite impact. And then later on, we say 8 days, 8 speakers, infinite stories, right? And having those breaks between phrases makes it somewhat more impactful, right? And having this framing around this white border around your content, again, that helps it stand out in someone's feed. So there are different things you can do to make sure that your posters or whatever content you're sharing on social media is more impactful and can even be um, understood by someone who's not from this robotics background.
And also, an important factor to keep in mind is that once you make your social media posting, you need to make sure that your teachers, your parents, your friends, everyone is following your social media handle, and you're constantly like they're liking it or they're looking at the post, so that the reach you have keeps increasing time by time. Yeah, I think we can move on.
Yeah, so coming to the awards at the first competition, Outreach gives you the majority of the awards, and the Chairman's Award, which is the most prestigious award at first, it revolves completely around the outreach that your team has done, and it honors the team that is the best role model for other teams and that best embodies the mission of FIRST. And it was created to make people understand that the central focus of the FIRST robotics competition is to change the culture of competition from do anything to win to like win against the best version of your opponent. And it's given to the team that inspires other people or their community to honor to like just to to get involved in the STEM community, and the team that encourages more of today's youth to become science and technology leaders. And the concept of the Chairman's Award enables first to recognize teams for their exemplary efforts in spreading FIRST's message. And for this award, you have four components. The first one is an essay, where you basically write an essay that talks about all your team's impact and whatever impact your team has made on your community. And this basically involves all the outreaches that you've done. The second is a short Q&A. So there will be a list of questions, and you have to answer all of these questions. And I think it's around 50 words max. And then you have the presentation. So at the competition, there'll be a group of 3 students who you will select from your team, who will have to make a presentation in front of the judges. And that again, once again, covers your all your outreach. And there's also a chairman's video, which has to be submitted prior to the competition. And once again, that just talks all about your outreach. So as you can see, outreach is essential in FIRST, and outreach is what makes FIRST different from any other robotics competition. So you really have to give in your best on this front. And to get the chairman's award, you have to do a lot of background research. So be sure to go through the other essays, the other videos and presentations. Everything's online. It's on the FIRST website, and you'll find everything on the internet. So be sure to go through every resource that you can find to see what exactly FIRST is looking for. Then we have, however, the chairman's award cannot be given to the rookie teams or the first year teams, because they believe that your outreach has to reach a level where it's sustainable, and you can't get that sustainability in just 1 year. So it's not for rookie teams. The award for rookie teams is the Rookie All-Star Award, and this is the most prestigious award for rookie teams. And in fact, Team Elevate won this award in our rookie year. So, and this basically shows that the team that wins the rookie award is a young team, but they show strong partnership effort, and it's basically like this team is a chairman's award team in the making. So although you can't get the chairman's award in your first year, you can get the Rookie All-Star Award, which shows that you have the potential to get the chairman's award in your later years. And for this award, they basically judge the amount of community activities you've done, the leadership you've shown, your vision, your mission, and like your spirit in general. And it's basically it's just to inspire. They assess you based on how many children you've inspired to join the FIRST community and to join the STEM community once again. And it also, the Rookie Award also tries to assess if you've understood what FIRST is really trying to accomplish, and that is that you need to realize that the technical stuff is like fun and challenging, but more importantly, it offers a future for the community, and that's why it's very important that you bring your community along with you, so you can build a future for like the world. And then we have the Dean's List Award. The Dean's List Award is given to around only 10 students out of like 75,000 students who participate at the FIRST robotics competition. And in fact, 2 of our members have gotten the Dean's List Awards over the past 2 years. And the award is given to a student who shows outstanding leadership, technical expertise, entrepreneurship, creativity, and commitment at turning the FIRST ideals. So I think the overall message is that to get any of the topmost, like the top-notch awards at FIRST, you have to have a very strong outreach, and so just give everything into your outreach. And then, however, the physical awards are not everything. FIRST also teaches you so many other things, and your outreach teaches you so much that you would never get from like any other competition. So like you get interpersonal skills, like just communication, presentation. Like right now for us, this is our outreach, and me presenting to you, I'm learning how to present. So that is a skill that I'm developing right now while doing this outreach. So the awards that you get are not only like the physical awards that the event gives out, but also just these small things are learnings that you'll keep with you for your life. And like you learn how to collaborate, you learn teamwork, you'll gain core values, and you're not growing alone. So you're taking a community with you. So another award is just to take your community with you and to show that and just the fact that you're providing other people with the opportunities that you're privileged to have is an award in itself. Yeah, so do we have any questions about the awards?
So before we, like, if we don't have any questions, we can really talk about how we can, get some ideas for collaborative outreaches, because we've done a lot of these collaborative outreaches in the past with a number of teams, not only in India, but around the world as well. For example, in our rookie year, we did conduct a collaborative outreach, a design thinking workshop actually, with another team from the American School of Bombay. After that, we did conduct collaborative outreaches with other Indonesian teams as well. So we see that this is actually a great way for teams to bond together because when 3132 actually came to India and they started having they helped us set up the first FRC team. This created a kind of an unshakable bond between teams, and we still make it a point to at least see either 3132 we go to Australia, they come here at least once maybe 1 or 2 years. So these are kinds of collaborative outreach, the kind of effects that it has not only our teams, like the number of teams taking part together, but the community as a whole, because you are anyway multiplying the amount and the kind of outreach that you're doing. So would you have any ideas that we could do collaborative outreaches, not just with Team Elevate, but people with other people on this call itself, people from your own city, like any ideas at all would be you can get in touch with each other as well.
So we do plan to have a few outreach, which we would. So right now we are mentoring 8 teams, right? And we will have at least 2 outreaches to show the India strength and how India is coming up on the FRC in the first map. So we will have at least 2 outreaches which would involve all the teams. So I would love to hear ideas. If not now, later on, you could reach out to me and write to me on how you think we can do those outreaches. In fact, this is going to be a challenge, an outreach challenge which we are going to release shortly, where we would ask people to share if they have any ideas where we can take the entire first community that is there in India currently with us, and how can we reach out and make it more effective and more impactful. So I would love if you can say, come with some suggestions now, or as I said, you could write to me later. Either is fine. So do we have any questions? We are from our side, we are done with the presentation. So are there any questions that anybody would like to raise? Anything on Outreach Awards, the Dean's List, on the Rookie All-Star? So the Rookie All-Star, as Arna mentioned, is for rookie teams, and everybody here is a part of a rookie team. And it is sorry?
We do have a question actually.
Okay.
From Anish. Anish, go ahead, unmute yourself and ask us your question.
Yeah, I don't know, this is just a thought. This is just a thought. Maybe you guys could actually have a thing on TV, so that way it's accessible to many people, because even when you do Zoom calls, I think it's limited to certain sections of society, because other people, maybe they won't have access and they won't be able to get to a Zoom. But if you just put it on TV or something, that might.
So that's actually a very interesting concept. Like, we have a lot of teams around the world that actually do have their own TV shows. So is that what you're trying to suggest, I guess?
Maybe, or maybe you could just
So that's a collaborative also, where all of us kind of put up based on how impactful and effective our outreach is, and if we are making a difference to the community, we actually put up a TV. We can actually come up on TV and present it and increase the awareness. Anish, what did you have in mind?
Yeah, that. But if not that, even just speaking on the radio or something, that would also be pretty impactful, because it can really expand the amount of people you reach in the same time.
Yes, that is true. And we should explore these. That's a really great suggestion. I think we are making a note of it, and we shall explore this. Anybody else has any ideas? Thank you, Anish. Great. So I think we shall call it a day, and I hope it was helpful for everybody in terms of the inputs that they received on this, because outreach is important. And though you might be parts of various technical teams, and there would be a separate outreach team that you would have, which would focus only on outreach, and they would do a lot of planning. But each one is by being a part of first a member of the outreach team. So whether you are a part of outreach directly or not, you still continue to be in outreach. So great. I think that's all we had for today, and we look forward to you guys joining us again. The next one is on fundraising, and that's an important aspect as well. Do reach out if you have any doubts. Do reach out if you want any help in planning. Reach out if you want us to kind of do anything with you guys. And as I said, we are looking at doing a few collaborative outreaches. So I would look forward to all your ideas. Uh, Raghav, do we have anything else that has to be said? Or?
No, I think we've covered what exactly we need, like what we should try to do in our community outreaches as a community in India, and try to help each other with our our journeys as teams doing outreach. Like yeah, so I guess people have understood what they as a team need to do.
Perfect. ठीक है. Thank you guys. Then we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.